Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Tool of Farts. I'm Chuck.
I'm Lou. I'm a half-ass old fart today, but I'm still around
Why are you half-assed today?
because I'm getting old.
I'm right behind you. Right behind you.
So how's it going? How's everybody think about this playoff contention process?
Well, it played out like Saban and Kiffin and a bunch of other people had said, that if it's conference champions, is it like the most deserving? Are they the most deserving? Or is it based on who other teams played and how well they played?
You're
And,
exactly right.
strength of schedule, strength of record. I will say personally, I didn't think Alabama did enough to get in, only because of how poorly we played against Oklahoma. I mean, we didn't even get a touchdown. And I think that was the biggest knock. Now, so when you start pulling the threads, because you started this college playoff, Texas, their win last night was not impressive. They were
Nope.
not a dominant team against a 9-3 Clemson, who damn near lost to SMU in their conference championship game.
I have a problem with the 12 teams. When you get past those top 4 or 5 teams, really, anybody could be in there. I mean, you can take a team. I saw a guy earlier this morning, an Alabama guy, and he felt kind of like I am. Since we lost to Vanderbilt and to Oklahoma, we're okay. We probably shouldn't be in there. But when I got to looking at it, got thinking about some things, and did some research, I think we were better than Clemson.
Well, I know we were.
Yeah.
Back to that point, Texas struggled against Clemson. I mean, they did. It was not a dominant performance. It looked like it was, and then all of a sudden, Clemson had a bunch of explosive plays and got really close, and then Texas knuckled down and started playing good ball again, and then Clemson would come back. It wasn't as close as it wasn't as a big of a win for Texas as people think. But the point I'm trying to make is Texas struggled against Clemson, who lost against South Carolina, who we beat.
Yep.
And we beat Georgia, who has beaten Texas twice.
When you look at it, Oregon's rated number 1, right? Then Georgia and stuff like that. When you look at their records and stuff like that, South Carolina was 14, Clemson 13. We beat Georgia. We lost Tennessee. And
Close.
Yes, and we won South Carolina, which is number 14. Then you get down, we beat Missouri, which is 23. So out of the top 25 teams, we have 1, 2, 3 wins and 1 loss out of the top 25.
Correct. We played 4 top 25 teams, and nobody else played. I don't think anybody played 3.
Oregon played 3 top teams. They played Ohio State. They won. Illinois, they won, and Penn State, they won. Okay. Then you get down to Georgia. Georgia beat Clemson. They lost to us. They beat Texas twice. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Tennessee. Okay.
Georgia is a tough team.
Absolutely. Then you get down to Boise State. They lost to Oregon 37, and they beat UNLV 21, which was.
Who's UNLV?
They're ranked number 20 at that particular time.
Who's UNLV?
Exactly. Then you get down to Arizona State, which since Jordan's going to be going to Arizona State to do it for a master, I like Arizona, so I'll be rooting for them.
But you know what? They had a really good program, and they had an excellent season, so I can't take nothing away from that team.
They won number 16, Utah. They beat Kansas State, number 16. When they played them, they beat BYU, which was 14, and they beat Iowa State, which was 16. So they got 4 top 25 wins, okay, out of the season. So I'm okay with that. Texas, number 5, they beat Michigan, beat Oklahoma, lost to Georgia twice, and they beat A&M, okay? Then you get Penn State. They beat Illinois. They lost to Ohio State.
Lost to Oregon.
And they lost to Oregon. So it makes you wonder. Then they won the game yesterday, I think.
Yeah, they handily beat SMU. It was 28 to nothing at half, wasn't it?
Then Notre Dame, they beat A&M. They beat Louisville. They beat Navy, and they beat Army.
Clemson lost to Louisville.
And then you get Ohio State. They lost to Oregon. Beat Penn State. They beat Indiana. That's all. Okay. Then you get Tennessee. They had North Carolina State. They won. They beat Oklahoma. They lost. They beat us, and they lost to Georgia. So Indiana, they lost to Ohio State. That's the only team they played in the top 25 teams. And they lost 38-15 to Ohio State. Even though they only lost one game, but they didn't play anybody. And they were number 10, right? And then SMU was ranked number 11. They beat Louisville 34-27. They beat Pittsburgh, and they lost to Clemson. And so they're number 11. And then you get Clemson number 12. They lost to Georgia 34-3. Yeah. Lost to South Carolina 17-14, who beat us.
No, we beat them.
We beat them, I'm sorry. And then SMU.
They lost to Louisville.
They won 30.
In a final field goal.
Exactly. Then our schedule, we beat Georgia. We lost Tennessee. We beat Missouri. We beat LSU. But we had those 2 losses.
3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Vandy, Tennessee, and Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma, yeah. So I'm saying
Tennessee was a good loss.
What I'm saying
if you're going to lose to a team like Tennessee is a good loss. Losing to Oklahoma, who their win made them a 500 team, that's a bad loss.
I think the committee, I don't know how they did it.
It could be Alabama fatigue.
Well, I'm not going to say anything one way or the other. I'm just saying the committee. I think they need to go back and relook at how we're going to do the playoff system, period. I think the bowl games are losing. And historically, that's what the season's been all about. When the football regular season's over, is the bowl game, playing at the bowl games and trying to get people, because then the players want to play in those particular bowls because they meant something.
They did.
Help them with their future, where they're going to get into NFL and had a chance to really show off one more time, that type of thing. The selection committee, I think, has got a lot of work to do. I printed out what they do. Number 1, the 12 participating teams will be the 5 conference champions ranked highest by the CFP collection, plus the next 7. Well, what's their criteria? Do they look at strength of schedule? Because if they did, they didn't really look at this strength of schedule what we just went over.
No, they did not.
And I agree with the guy I was talking to. We got it handed to us with Oklahoma. I've never seen us play. I don't remember the last time we played that kind of a football game at Alabama. I just don't remember one. The ranking of the teams will continue to be done by the selection committee. I think they just got a lot of work to do. I don't know what the solution is. If they did, I'd be there doing it. Right? When you look at how these teams folded out, and I get like the games yesterday. Some like Tennessee going into where they're cold weather. I think that does have a factor into it, and along with other things too. I just have a hard time with the selection committee process of how they're doing it, and I don't really understand how they're doing it. And I haven't heard a whole lot about it this year. Usually, on game day and places like that, you hear a lot of conversation about the committee, and they interview the committee members and talk about different things. And I haven't heard that kind of a conversation, or maybe I just missed it.
No, there really hasn't. It hasn't had that level of detail that it had in the past. And funny thing you mentioned that the last year there was a lot of talk about conspiracy, because before they released the names of the 4 teams, when Kirk Herbstreit was being interviewed, right behind him, he had the 4 helmets of the teams that were already picked to go. And I think that was an error, obviously, that they didn't catch. So that's why this year, when the selection committee or the selection day was going on, Reese kept going on and on about, we don't know who the picks are. The only person who knows is the graphics guy. I promise you, it was all of that was because of last year when Herb Street was talking. You could see
Yes.
all 4 helmets behind him
Right.
in his bookcase or whatever, so you knew who the teams were.
Yeah.
And that's also what sparked this year some teams opting out of being there on TV for the selection results.
Right. I think more realistically, 6 teams or 8 teams would be more realistic. When you start getting down to 12 teams, and you start looking at the schedules they played, like,
You start splitting hairs.
yeah, it's. I think it's going to cause more controversy, and I think in the long run we're going to lose. I think the bowls are going to lose. I think they're going to be the biggest losers.
So I don't think they are losing. You know why? Because the games are still being played at these bowls. It being a bowl game now, it just doesn't matter what it's called anymore. It's still happening.
But they're only playing for the top 4 teams. The
Yeah,
8
but
teams,
they played Friday and Saturday, and they're going
the
to play the
selection.
next round, and then they're going to play the final.
Yeah, but they weren't bowl games. They were played at their home, at the winning team's, highest ranking team's stadium. It wasn't a bowl game. The selection
Okay.
committee will assign the 4 highest ranking conference championship playoff quarterfinals hosted by bowls. The top 4 will be our bowl. The rest of them, for example, the Sugar Bowl hosted playoff quarterfinal. SEC champ is ranked number 1. The Big 12 is number 3. The SEC champ will be assigned to the Sugar Bowl. The Big 12 champ will be assigned. How's that fair?
I don't know.
If you're a Big 12 fan, and the other thing that I was reading about this, you and I don't have the money to go see Alabama play 2 or 3 games or any other team. And most fans don't have that either.
No.
They got to travel across country where in a bowl game, it's just more to it than what I.
Now,
what
the
I
last 2 games that we went to, I opted to spend more money on the seat location because I thought it was going to be important for us to get closer because we haven't been that close to the
Right.
field. And I think it enhanced the experience, didn't it? Sitting closer to
And
the
I
action.
agree. And I think the average fan does that. They'll spend a little extra money because they are fans. They want to see their team. I want to see Alabama. The other day, I was standing in line someplace. There was 2 ladies ahead of me, and I asked if they were in line because I didn't want to cut in front. I wasn't sure if they were in line. And the one lady said, "Yes, we are." And I said, "Well, I didn't want to be rude and cut in front of them." She said, "That's okay. We forgive you. You're from Alabama." So we had a little conversation around that. But that's what fans do. Fans love their team. They want to travel with them as much as they can. But the average fan doesn't have that kind of money where they can go out and really make. To me, when you and I go to a game, it's a big deal to me. I mean, I look forward to it.
I do too, but financially, it's a big deal too.
It is.
It's a
It
big
is.
financial commitment.
It is. You can't. So I can speak for myself. I couldn't do that 2 or 3 times a year. I just don't have
Without
that.
getting it, not without getting.
Well, I'll be a big trouble, and then it's not fair to the other part of the family, and the other half of the family, So
Could we have stayed at a cheaper place? Yes, we could have, but we wouldn't have been with all the other fans, and we wouldn't have had the package where we got to travel on the bus and come back on the bus. We would have been on our own to get to the stadium and get back from the stadium, and that starts to drive up the cost as well.
the last 2 times we went, one when we went down to and we got some barbecue. See those pictures that we took with those people? We had no idea who the hell they were.
One of the best meals I ever had, and I don't think anybody laughed as hard as we all did.
And we didn't know anybody there. We just got set at a table with other fans who were traveling just like us.
And all standing in line to eat barbecue.
Yeah. And then just like this last time in Oklahoma, it was nice. When that table, when we were getting the food stuff, that one couple, they had the children there, then the other guy sitting, and it's just great conversations and it's great memories that you create. You have,
I agree.
It's just, I just hope they take a look at this playoff stuff, and I just think 12 teams is too many. I really do.
I really think Nick Saban is they're going to create some kind of an entity. I think not the leagues, I think the conferences are going to divorce themselves of the NCAA. I think they're just going to ignore it. And they're probably going to start their own league office or whatever. And there's going to be rules about NIL because it's becoming an arms race right now.
It is.
Greg Sankey got into a lot of heat this past week over this NIL deal that he's asking fans to pledge to.
Yes.
Did you hear about it?
I still don't understand. I read all of that he put out, but I still don't understand all of it.
Well, it's Yay Alabama, yay-alabama.com, and the join now. So here are the financial tiers that you can join. Just listen. A 3-month starter, $50 for 3 months. And then it renews at $54 every 3 months. And you know what you get? The membership, a car decal, access to the Yay Alabama online member hub filled with exclusive content and insight, and an invitation to the Football Fan Day autograph session. Remember when those were free and it was everybody making the mad dash? Nope, they don't do that no more. So there's a 6-month starter for $100, and then it renews annually at $108, and you get the same stuff.
It's like
that.
business.
That is expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about business anymore.
And that's all. Also, okay, so the starter is $18 a month. The student fee is $5 a month. The all conference is $75 a month. The All American tier is $150 a month. And then the Hall of Fame is $250 plus a month.
It's ridiculous.
That's that's the Yay Alabama. That's the NIL. That's for fans and alumni to send money so that they can pay these athletes to come and play there.
And which athletes are going to get the money? Is it going to be dispersed equally to all athletes or just to a few?
I don't know. You can make a one-time contribution. There's a thing do you want to partner with a student athlete? So then you input your information in this. Describe your opportunity, the athlete you wish to contact, your budget, what kind of activity do you want, and then add additional information.
Yeah. How many people do you think know all of the students that participate in sports? Alabama has a hockey team. Do you know that?
Yes, I did know that.
Do you know how many of the people on the hockey team? Do you know what kind of record they have?
No, because I don't follow hockey. That's not quite a fair question.
Well, it is when you're looking at athletes. So that hockey player who's really good is probably going to get a chance of getting into the National Hockey League or something like that because there's big money in hockey at the national level. Is it fair for them not have the same opportunity for money as somebody who's playing football or basketball or baseball or softball?
I get it.
Yeah. How about those players on the third and fourth team? They're out there getting beat up every day at practice because you got to practice against somebody. So the first and second teams, how many times this year have you seen players come off the bench that really were not first or second and starting to do good? Look at Ryan Williams, a freshman. Yeah. He's like he got a chance to play. Then look at all of a sudden he is a big deal.
He looked good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a lot of questions and things we can't answer and stuff like that.
We lost some players. We're getting some good players in the transfer portal. I'm hoping we're getting the players that Kalen DeBoer wants to get, and I hope we change our defensive coordinator. I did like what I saw on offense. I didn't like that we lost Justice Haynes because towards the end of the season, we went more Jam Miller, whereas at the beginning of the season, you saw that rotation between Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, Justin Miller, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes. And I like that when you start to platoon those backs like that because it wears down the defense and it forces more people into the box, in my opinion, which then opens up more opportunities for the RPOs.
Totally agree. And and it keeps those players fresh. It limits the potential for injuries as a general rule, and they have different styles of running. So
Correct.
that means the defense got to sit down. All of a sudden, now I got a new player, and I got to adjust mentally a little bit. And sometimes that stuff happens so quickly, you don't have time, and that's where the big plays kick in.
And that's why I think we need to go back to 3 yards in a cloud of dust instead of always pass. Because all they have to do is just drop back into zone coverage and play.
Yeah, and wait for you.
Yeah, because they know you're coming.
Yeah.
If we lined up with 2 running backs and a tight end every play, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you go back to the Derrick Henry days and all those guys. Yeah. Because you had wide receivers that could catch the football. You had tight ends that could catch the football.
Yep.
Yeah.
And block. And block. That's the most important thing, is blocking those defensive ends that are coming around and eating these quarterbacks up. And we've got to get linemen on the O-line that can take a double team, that can, you know what I'm saying, can eat blocks. That's what we've got to get.
And I'm not much of an Ohio State fan. My good buddy Ernie, I hope he doesn't listen and get his feelings hurt. But that's what I saw at Ohio State. Is, there were several plays there when they get down close. They're running 3 tight ends in a running play. You know what? And they scored big plays off of those when you had those tight ends in there. Because, you have 2 options. They can run and block. They also can catch a football.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And you know who couldn't convert on 4th down when they tried to run the ball yesterday? Texas. 3 times they tried, and 3 times they failed because Clemson stuffed them.
Yep. I don't know. It's just a lot. I love watching the game, and
that is what we've gotten away from at Alabama. We have gone more and more towards the pass. And as we have gone down that road, you have seen Alabama's chances for championships slip year after year after year. Because if you don't have the right quarterback and the right receivers, as well as a good defensive secondary, you're just not going to win.
Well, how do you think DeBoer's going to handle that? You think he's going to change up just a little bit and get a little bit better of a mix on it, or?
I don't know. I think next year will be the beginning of the telltale of what we're going to see in the Kalen DeBoer era as to what kind of offense and defense he wants and likes.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think the transfer portal, what I'm seeing, we're getting some players in that will help us. One thing that I do agree with Saban on, I think there should be a limit of how many years you can, or how many times you could transfer in a portal.
I think so too.
One time, when it first started, you could transfer one time. That was it.
And you had to sit out a whole year afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there need to be just because I'm pretty good, somebody else thinks that I'm not quite as good as this guy. I'm going to take Ryan Williams. I like that kid. Suppose next year somebody transfers in that he thinks a little bit better than him. Guess where he's going to go? He's going to go to the portal because he's had such a good year this year.
Exactly. And now you've lost depth.
Yeah, you look at Texas. We had, 1 or 2 players that transferred from Alabama into Texas?
Isaiah Bond and somebody else.
Caleb Williams, I think it was.
The offensive lineman.
Yeah. So, it's good for the players. I'm all excited for them. But I think we just need to sit down and look at it and get away from the business aspect of it.
I think you should get a one-time transfer and then apply for a second transfer if your coach or your coordinator, that if you're an offensive player and your offensive coordinator leaves, or defensive player and your defensive, if they leave, you should be able to apply for a second to leave, because these are young men and they have usually an attachment, because those are the people that actually recruited them.
And going back to NIL, from what I was reading too, the NIL process is talking to these kids now. We can give you more here than they can give you there. And we're talking about money-wise and stuff like that. You know what? Money talks and bullshit walks. So they're going to do what's best for them, and that's not always fair to the university and to the school alumni and to the fans.
But it is what it is.
Those fans pay a lot of money when they go to those ball games. They eat and they drink. The community makes money. because they're staying overnight or a couple of days or whatever type thing. So it's going to be a lot to it. I'm going to give you a positive thing here.
Okay.
Most appearances in the college football playoff. Which team has the most?
Alabama.
With 8. Clemson is 7. Ohio State is 6. Georgia is 4. Oklahoma 4. Michigan 3. Notre Dame 3. Then it goes down to 2 and 1. Okay. I'm sorry. Alabama has 14 college football playoffs. And then in the winnings where.
And that's why I think everybody wanted Alabama out this year. It's fatigue.
Yep. So. And
hell, then we run the risk of losing that game.
Yeah, we had 14.
Tell you what, that Alabama-Penn State game would have been awesome to watch.
We're 14, but we're 90th in playoff wins. And the next team that gets next to that is Clemson 6-4, Ohio State 3-4. Then Georgia is 5-1, Michigan 2-2, it goes like that. So I just think that we got some more work to do on this process, how we want to make it work, and keep the fans interested where they want to do it. Yeah, it's just be something next year about this time we'll be talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah, either that, we'll either be hailing Kalen DeBoer as the next Saban, or we'll be calling for his head.
Yeah, I think he's going to do all right. I agree with you. I think we just got to make a couple minor changes, and once he gets,
I don't think, when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, I don't think he got the defensive coordinator that he wanted or needed.
Right. Yeah, because the guy he wanted got a head coaching job, right?
Correct.
Then the guy we got was a head coach to me. And then, you're stepping down from being this level to here, even though you're a smaller school, but the position that you had, and I don't know, there's just a lot to it.
But if you're a head coach at a small market school and then you get to go to a big time program as a coordinator, that elevates your position and status, especially if you can do well on improving that team's standing in that position.
It helps you build your career. I understand that.
Look what it did for Lane Kiffin, and look what it did for Sarkisian.
Yeah, and look at Ryan Day at Ohio State. He's kind of the same of the way. He came in, a couple of the small schools. They got coaching position there at Ohio State, and something happened. He got a chance to coach 3 games because the other coach was, what's his name, was suspended. So it does help you, but you also got to change your mindset too, how you do things. You're a coach and you're got the whole thing with the head coach. Now all of a sudden you're a coordinator and you're just responsible for this part. Then you got to make this part work with the counterpart, the offense, the best type man. Sometimes that transition can be tough.
It can be. Well, this is probably a good jumping off point for us because we just hit the 32-minute mark.
Yeah. Well, you have a good one. Keep
you
your
too.
nose clean. Don't be sniffing stuff you ain't supposed to, so you get some more sinus issues there.
I will try.
All right.
All right. Y'all take care, everybody.
Y'all have a good Christmas. Love you guys.
Merry Christmas. Love you guys. Bye.